Hey, this is Brien James. I am the Vice President for the Indiana American Guard, and I'm also going to be acting as the representative for Indiana for the Proud Boys and the Fraternal Order of Alt Knights. In keeping with the Proud Boys tradition, this is my first degree video. I am a proud Western chauvinist, and I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world. Thank you. As I said above, my name is Brien James. My name is spelled funny, B-R-I-E-N. If you Google me and start digging around, you'll be able to read for a few hours about what a horrible, racist, violent shithead the left wing says I am. I spent over 20 years in the white nationalist movement, most of that time in some sort of leadership position of one skinhead crew or another. I founded and ran some of the most extreme white nationalist gangs in America. I don't want to get into too many details, but I have lived a full life. I've been in serious trouble with the law. Every left-wing fundraising organization in America has written about me several times. I'm familiar with both sides of this issue from top to bottom. There's very little that someone could experience either in the white nationalist scene or in the civic nationalist scene that I have not experienced. I started leaving the white nationalist movement in 2007 of my own free will and on my own terms. I didn't jump to the other side. I wasn't ran out. I didn't leave to appease anyone or to try to make my life easier. I just decided that the philosophy wasn't for me anymore. I now consider myself to be what most people refer to as a civic nationalist as opposed to a white nationalist. I believe in putting America first. I support the Constitution and basic libertarian principles, and I don't care what race you are or much else about you as long as we agree on these principles. I also consider myself a member of the alt-right. I worked hard to put Trump into office, and I enthusiastically support his nationalist policies, at least the ones that fall within the confines of the Constitution. I see this attempt to apologize or appease our enemies as the root problem from the civic nationalists, and honestly, the biggest problem from the white nationalists is trying to bring a racially exclusive message to events organized by people who have other goals in mind. It's always been done in the white nationalist movement. I did it when I was in there, and I recognize it's still going on. They see momentum, and they try to latch on to it regardless of whether or not they're welcome. And when they are told they're not welcome, they start attacking people. I cannot speak for the Proud Boys or the Alt Knights, but I can relay the stance that the American Guard has come to by a democratic process, and that is that we intend to basically ignore, but not impede, the majority of the white nationalist movement. Our members can choose to attend or not attend their events. We will not be inviting them to our events for the most part, or asking for their help, and the ones who do come and choose to come as friends or supporters will come with the understanding that they are there to support whatever cause we are working on and not to promote separate agendas. The exception to this rule comes into play when we are talking about the National Socialists within the white nationalist movement, or any group or individual that is against the Constitution, the free market, the American system of government created by our forefathers, or traditional Western culture. We will not associate with these people, and we will be speaking out against them as passionately as we speak out against traitors and socialists from the left. We do not even consider these people part of them.
I'm Joshua Long. I'm one of the founding members of the American Guard and one of the architects of the ideology that we call American constitutional nationalism. This needless ideological division, the cultural friction in our nation, is leading us into a civil war. The battle lines are already being drawn along cultural and ideological lines. It's liberty versus tyranny. Authoritarians on the left and right versus constitutionalists and traditional Americans across the spectrum. If we expect to win this war, we must have the most effective ideological arsenal we can, because we are vastly outnumbered. We need the best weapons we can wield. With superior weaponry, even though we're outnumbered, we will win. In my decades of activism, I've never seen a more effective ideology than we have with the American Guard. I don't care about the static too much, but this is something that I want my own people to hear. I am a proud, white, heterosexual American man, and I do my best to honor my ancestors, our culture, and the sacrifices that they've made in everything that I do, and I respect the rights of all other Americans, regardless of their culture, to do the same. But there's a reason I steer very clear of the new racialist movement. It isn't anything close to my culture. I see the same victimhood mentality in it that I see in the social justice warrior circles on the left. All the entitlement and none of the responsibility. Real white power, real black power, real power of any culture on earth is not in the hatred, subjugation, or hindrance of others. It's in the strength of yourselves. So quit whining and get your asses to work.
Whoopsie daisy!
My name is T. Richter. I am a Western chauvinist. I refuse to apologize for creating a modern world. And the West is the best.
We're not going to that rally. Another person on the West Coast who's a larger personality and has a big following who's still on a rally up north, a Patriot rally, Civic Nationalist rally, took these articles that said that me, as the founder of the American Guard, is a Klansman, and he repeated that on video. So he never, I'm friends with this person on social media. I've had conversations with this person. Many of our members have had conversations with this person. He didn't come to us. He didn't ask us what was going on. He didn't verify any of this. He just threw us under the bus. Now, these civic nationalist groups, like this guy in the northern part of the West Coast that threw me under the bus, if they believe that they can make any distinctions between themselves and me, or themselves and the Proud Boy, or any other civic nationalist group, because that group has a lot of heat on them, they're mistaken. That's not going to happen. That's a never-ending game. You can win the battle of, when these leftists call you a bigot or a white supremacist or a Nazi or whatever, you can win the battle of whether or not you are that, simply by this. I was in that movement, and the people in that movement don't work with anyone who's not white. They don't make friends with people who aren't white. They don't date people who aren't white. If you do those things, they don't want anything to do with you. If you are in a civic nationalist group and you have members and friends and people you work with of all types, then you're not a racist. You're not a bigot. You're not a Nazi. You don't have to go any further when it comes to trying to explain to people or prove to people who are what you are and who are what you are not. That's it. That's the dividing line. If you're willing to work with everybody for the benefit of the country, then you're not an ethnic nationalist. And if you belong to groups that only accept people of your same race or your same exact beliefs or viewpoints, then you're a totalitarian, just like the far left. We don't have to go out of our way to prove anything to our enemies or to prove anything to the media. And you'll never win that battle. You can win the battle of who and what you are, but you'll not win this battle of guilt by association, because there's some degree, you're associating with somebody who's associating with somebody else, it's just unwinnable. So to the people who threw the American Guard under the bus, we're not mad at you. And if you don't want us at your stuff, we're not going to be at your stuff this time. And if you want to sit down at some point and talk with us and find out who and what we are, I think you already know. But if you don't, we've made videos, me, Valerie Moody, our national spokesperson, Joshua Long, one of the other founders. It's all on record from here to the end of time.